Did they cite that?
No,
We-
I'm
we-
sure not.
No.
I'm sure not.
Yeah. And, but that was your impression, that clearly that was a factor.
Well, sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so how did you overcome that? Because you
Well-
didn't change your vision.
Well, when we got to 1964, we were coming out of the ground. We had to start a whole other project down on Lawyers Road. When I say had to, somewhere along the line with the turn down of the bankers, it struck me that maybe the bankers are right. So we would better do something else. And the something else was Lawyers Road with traditional house sites. So now I've lost my way.
Well, we were trying to find out which bank broke the pattern here
okay.
and why.
No. What happened was we were running up bills now. We'd run out of the $2 million. There was none of that left. And it was getting serious. And somehow or other we got together with Gulf Oil. And that's a whole long story which we don't need to bother with now. But the Gulf Oil came in with $15 million. And we were required to take 10 million of that, 12 million of that, and pay off the mortgage that was on the property, 12 million. So that left us 3 million. And by the time we had all the I's and T's dotted and crossed, we were way under. So the 3 million just cleaned us up. And then we went from there.
And you were able to proceed with your vision of an open community.
Yes.
A racially integrated community.
Right.
And what was the reaction of local government at the time to that?
Well, as I remember it, Bob Dix was the supervisor.
No, that would have been much later. Bob Dix would have been much later. This is,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
we're still talking about in the 60s here.
Right.
Did you get negative reactions from the local governing body, or
Well,
were they open to your vision?
I think that, well, I know that the planning staff, I think there were about 20 on the staff at the time, they all knew about the new communities in the rest of the world, particularly in England. And they knew about Radburn in the United States, which I had found out about through my father being on the board of Radburn. So we were welcomed. We didn't have a lot of nitpicking along the way. And I guess it must have been the planning staff, but then we were fairly well set with lawyers. We had at Pritchard and Armistead Booth. And if you think of the names Armistead Booth, that's Virginia.
Yeah.
So him representing us in some areas in Pritchard and others, the feeling of an outsider coming in was mitigated.
Mm-hmm. When you were doing this planning at the time, you were also looking at schools in this mixed-use development, right?
You mean looking to build?
To build schools, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was clearly your plan and intention that those schools would be integrated.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And were the schools integrated by that point in Fairfax County around you?
I don't believe so.
No. But they didn't have any negative reaction to the fact that you might integrate yours. Of course, this is after Brown v. Board of Education.
Well, now we had Jane Wilhelm on staff. Jane Wilhelm, who was maybe the only person alive who was welcomed by extreme right and extreme left. The reason being that her father had been Senator Byrd's right hand. So that qualified her for the extreme right. And she herself had all the instincts of extreme left, or not extreme, of sensible left. So when it came to the whole business of schools, we also had a cousin of mine who happened to be a New Yorker and worked at the United Nations, and very, very bright lady. And she worked with Jane Wilhelm on things like education, the other social programs.
You know, it sounds, Bob, like what you did was revolutionary, but it sounds like you didn't feel all that revolutionary